Hey, I'm Andy with Coach's Corner. We have Mark Wadel back with us here. Mark, it's been a little bit since we had you back on the show. You were actually one of my first interviews when we launched this show, and you guys were undefeated at the time, I believe, when we last talked, and had a great season. Finished 10-1 in the regular season. You guys are the Boonsboro Warriors are now in the state quarterfinals of the MPSSAA Washington County High School football playoffs. What's the atmosphere been like around the locker room and the community? How excited is everybody to be hosting that game, let alone be in it?
Oh, everyone's super excited. We've got great fan support. The kids are all fired up. You and I just talked a little bit in the pre-show. It's the first time since 2001 that we've made it this far. So everyone's super excited. We're ready to get going.
Awesome. You guys are coming off a huge win last week against the Brunswick Railroaders. Never an easy team to beat. They also have the Division One commit Ethan Houck. I think he's committed to Liberty.
That's correct.
He's not easy to stop, but you guys did it. And Logan Atkinson was actually one of your I'd say star players of the game. He kind of helped swing the momentum in your guys' way with a pretty big play midway through the game. Can you kind of describe what happened there and walk us through how the players were feeling?
Sure. It was a very tight game at the point. We're back and forth. We actually started the game down 13-0, and we're fighting. Um, Play towards the end zone there, and the receiver ran a quick stop, made a move on our corner. Looked like it was a definite touchdown. Logan Atkinson had a great hustle play coming from behind. Swiped the ball out of the guy's hands right before he crossed the goal line, forcing a fumble. Recovered by Blake Main in the end zone for a touchback. And then on the very next play, we ran an RPO buck sweep, and our quarterback hit the same Blake Main kid across the middle. It was about 7 yards, but Blake ended up taking it 80 yards for a touchdown.
Wow, that's amazing. I bet everybody was pretty pumped up after that. You guys obviously never looked back after scoring that touchdown and ended up coming away with the win, 34-22. Um, when your players make big plays like that, uh, are there any type of I guess what I'm trying to say is how do the other players react accordingly when they're on the field? Can you kind of feel the momentum rise with the kids? I mean, kids are kids. They get excited over simple things.
Sure.
But when you're in a football game like that, especially a high school football game, high school football is a big deal in Washington County.
Right.
What was the how were the players reacting? How were they handling it? Were there nerves? Were there any nerves from the players? Were they, all focused? How were they reacting on the field and on the sideline with you?
Well, that was a huge momentum shift. It went look for what to be a sure touchdown, 7 points for them. Next play, we scored a touchdown. So that's a 14-point swing. And one of the boys was interviewed for the local newspaper, and he said from there on out, we knew we had it.
Yeah.
So the momentum really shifted in our favor. The kids were excited. Hey, we got a big stop. We got the lead. And we just started playing from in front and executing and doing what we needed to do to take care.
Yeah, it reminds me of when you were describing the play where Logan was, hustling to go get the ball. It reminds me of those plays you see in the professional sports where the wide receiver or whoever has the ball is running the ball into the touchdown. And I'm not saying the Railroaders player was giving up or slowing down at all, but you just all of a sudden you see the defensive player come into the picture, and then the
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's a total game changer. That's really cool. That's got to be an awesome moment for Logan, and one he'll probably
Oh,
never forget.
absolutely. I mean, the receiver caught that ball like the 4 yard line. So there wasn't, he had no idea that Logan was coming from behind him. He went to stretch the ball out into the end zone, and that's when Logan made the swipe, and
Mm.
we were able to recover.
Man, I can only imagine. You guys have a pretty tough opponent in Northern Garrett coming up. Northern Garrett's always a decent team. I believe are they defending state champion?
No, that's Fort Hill.
Fort Hill's the defending state
Yeah,
champion, and they're in the other side of the bracket
correct.
currently. But still no slouch. Northern Garrett is a tough team. How are you prepping, or how have you been prepping this week to take on Northern Garrett Friday night?
Northern Garrett's a very good team. They're coached by Phil Carr. I believe he's been there 28 years, and he does an excellent job. You can see on film that those kids are super well coached. They execute their schemes both offensively, defensively, and special teams exceptionally well. So we've been coaching our kids hard, trying to make sure that we're getting our assignments down. They run an option style offense, so it's more of an assignment based defense, more so than just fly to the ball. You got to take care of the quarterback, the fullback, and the pitch man on every play. So they present a unique set of challenges, and like I said, they do it exceptionally well, which is evident about being in this round of the playoffs as well. So those kids out there, they play super hard for their coach. They're very motivated. They execute very well. So it's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, I always say when I was in high school and we'd go into the playoffs, and make it pretty far. No matter the sport, if you go up against a team in the area, where Northern Garrett's from, I always say they grow them different up there. They
Correct.
just seem to be a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. Yeah,
They're a great looking group of kids.
yeah,
They're not exceptionally big, but they play very hard.
yeah,
It's all part of the Coach Carr's philosophy and the way they execute up there. So they're
yeah.
they're definitely a formidable opponent.
Yeah, it's all about how you perform. Yeah, I agree.
Correct.
So is the Boonsboro community doing anything special for your boys before the game coming up on Friday? I know you guys are a pretty tight knit community up there, especially within the high school and the athletic boosters. Any type of I don't want to say a parade or anything like that, but is there anything special going on for the team?
Not really. As a football team, we're pretty regimented in what we do. So anything that breaks from the norm is a
Yeah,
distraction.
yeah,
So
that's
I'm
good.
I'm very very superstitious. We like to do the exact same thing. So we'll be in the film room tomorrow at 3:45, watching today's practice, getting ready, having dinner, getting ready for the game, and just go out and have our normal Friday.
Yep, just another normal day. I like it. I
Well,
love it.
anything that's beyond the norm becomes a distraction.
That's a good philosophy to have. That sounds very Bill Belichick like.
Yeah, right. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban.
Yep, yep, yep. Speaking of Bill Belichick, now to bring up that topic, I got a question for you being a football coach. Do you think he'll end up anywhere at the end of the season with all of the turmoil going on in the NFL?
There's going to be plenty of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be some coaches on the hot seat. It's a matter of whether he wants to do it. It's a super hard job with long hours, and it's whether it's right for him and his family, and we have
Yeah,
no idea what they're thinking.
exactly. And he is up there in age, for a
Sure.
coach. So you gotta, like you said, you gotta take that into mind as well. Well, awesome. So the game is Friday at 7 p.m. It's in Boonsboro. If you want to come out and cheer on the Warriors, cheer on your remaining Washington County football team in the playoffs, and we're hoping for a win for you. I'm confident in your boys. Do
Appreciate
you
it.
do you guys have any? Do you guys have a specific game plan going into the matchup with Northern Garrett, or do you? I understand if you don't want to reveal it.
Offensively, we're just kind of going to do what we do. We've had a lot of success throughout the year. We led the county in rushing yards. We led the county in scoring. So we're going to kind of keep doing what we do. We have to adjust it based on the defense that they play. And a couple of their players are really good. So you make adjustments for them. And I alluded to earlier, defensively, we got to try and stop the triple option, which presents its own unique challenges. So game plan adjustments that way as well. But as far as reinventing the wheel, that's not what we do. We go out and we try and do what we do to the best of our ability and hope for the best.
Sometimes the simpler the better.
Right.
It's usually how it works out. I was looking at a couple of the stats before we spoke here today of your team and the rushing stats, and the rushing statistics for your team. Some of the touchdowns, the amount of touchdowns your boys have, and the rushing yards that three different players have is amazing. You guys have really, really, really done well this year, and it's really cool to see. You don't really see that too often in high school football. There's usually one or two standout rushing running backs, but a feat that's you guys should be proud of, and it's really cool to see. And I wish you guys luck on Friday.
Well, I appreciate it. We run a shotgun wing tee, so we have different ways to get different kids the ball. Pretty much any kid can run the ball in any play, depending on how it's designed. But I really got to give a shout out to the offensive line. Very early in the year, I was super concerned of how they would perform. Last
Mhm.
year I graduated 4 starters, if you include my tight end, so I'm only bringing back 2 out of 6. And early on in the year, I was super concerned whether we'd be able to get it figured out. And even early on in the year, we struggled a little bit, but that group has really come together very well, and they're executing very well, which, as a result, you get those good rushing yards and touchdowns.
Yeah, I remember we spoke about that towards the beginning of the season about your only having only two starters coming back, and they say what the battle's won in the trenches.
That's right.
There you
That's right.
go. Well, good luck on Friday, Mark. We're rooting on your Warriors. We hope you guys can come away with the win there. Like I said, if you want to go check it out, it's in Boonsboro. The game starts at 7. It's the state quarterfinals for the MPSSAA high school football playoffs. We wish you well, Mark. Good luck to your team, and we'll touch base after the game. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.